someone that's already in the addiction treatment space and is not too big is kind of the ideal partner.
BioNeex is the first biopharma R&D open exchange platform for licensing and co-development partnerships of drug candidates. We are working closely with biopharmaceutical companies that are actively seeking preclinical and clinical stage drug candidates for in-licensing and co-development partnerships to expand their R&D pipelines. If you are a development stage biotech company and are looking for licensing and co-development partners for your drug candidates, then list them for free on BioNeex and get contacted directly by these biopharmaceutical companies. We are already working with many partners. Would you like to learn more about BioNeex? Feel free to get in touch with us. We look forward to working with you.
Hello everyone, today we are back again with BioNeex interview. Our guest is today Brady Granier, founder and CEO of BioCorRx Pharmaceuticals. Hello Brady, it's nice to meeting you today.
Likewise, thanks for having me on.
So BioCorRx Pharmaceuticals is a Californian-based biotech company and subsidiary of BioCorRx, specializing in developing treatments for substance use disorder. Please, Brady, tell us a little bit more about the company and what makes this development stage biotech company so unique.
Well, I think we are unique in the fact that we have our pharmaceutical company is a subsidiary of our parent company, BioCorRx Inc., which is an addiction solutions company. So over the years, we've been developing programs for addiction treatment that not only uses medication, but combines that with behavioral therapies and coaching and with virtual platforms and in-person, a combination of virtual technologies as well as the coaching and counseling. So we've been doing this for about a decade now and have boots on the ground, have experience with treating addiction or helping doctors and counselors treat addiction. So we decided a few years ago to form a subsidiary pharmaceutical company to take a particular medication through the FDA approval process since we saw a need for it. So that led us on this journey for BICX 104.
Very good. Can you then a little bit tell us about your proprietary technology and drug development pipeline? What kind of assets you have at the moment in your pipeline and in which indications exactly are they?
Right. Well, the lead product in our pipeline is BICX 104. It's a naltrexone implant. It's subcutaneously, I call it a pellet. It's implanted, implantable pellet. These implantable pellets of naltrexone have been used for about a quarter of a century now, so they're not new in that regard. Right. But there's none that have gone through the regulatory process for approval in the United States thus far. So it's the proprietary technology there is right now held as a trade secret, and we are working on our IP strategy around that now that we're getting close to, now that we've gotten through the IND process. So we're actually working on all of those patents as we speak for the things that we discovered in the R&D of that particular product. So that's in the works right now. We have other things that are in the pipeline, but pretty premature right now. We're a small biotech company, so our main focus right this second is on BICX 104, getting that through to the NDA phase, and then we can start to focus on some of the other things that we have that are in the pipeline that we know are going to be successful products as well for treating, in this addiction field. So we'll get to those later. I really don't speak too much about those because they are early stage. And this really is the focus right now of the company is BICX 104.
Very good. So as you mentioned, you are in the NDA phase at the moment with your lead drug candidate. Maybe you are looking also for licensing or co-development partners at this stage. and who would be your ideal partner? And I also want to mention to our audience that BioCorRx Pharmaceuticals is a BioNeex member, and their drug candidate is already listed on BioNeex. So my question to you, Brady, why you believe that BioNeex can be helpful on that as well?
Well, it's a great platform you guys put together, and it's user friendly, and it's any place where we can connect with other like-minded individuals and companies that are in this space. We're happy to do that and explore those possibilities. Right now, to answer your question, we're kind of a blank slate at the moment, since we just literally got the IND, and we're working on the next phase of our NIDA funding, and moving forward to hopefully starting clinical trials later this year. We're debating, how far do we take this on our own versus partnering, and at which stage will we do that? So, but we are open to that. We're having conversations with several companies on the prospect of partnering and licensing, both in the U.S. and abroad. So we are kind of keeping all those opportunities open. I feel it's a little too early to make decisions on what we're going to do. We're certainly not afraid of taking it the distance on our own. We've been in the addiction space for quite a number of years, and know all the players, and we know who the customers will be for this product, and relationships with payers. So we can go the distance. Question is, do we want to versus partnering, and if we do, at what stage?
Right. So you said you already know players in the field, you even know the customers. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about a type of an ideal partner who would be, whether it's a large pharma or mid-size in more specific areas. So the other side of the, listeners can understand your vision on that.
Yeah, I mean, the partners that I think are ideal are, I mean, this is a very niche treatment space.
Right.
It's not a very big pharma space when it comes to what, the type of products we're dealing with. And so we know most, if not all, the players in that space. So we kind of know who those potential partners will be. I won't name them, of course. But preferably it's someone that's not large, or not too large, that they're really going to give it the focus. This is going to be a very important project for them. We want them to have knowledge of the addiction treatment space. So that would be the ideal partner. Not someone, not too big, but because this needs to focus. It is a specialized treatment space. I mean, it's not about, in my opinion, not just selling a drug and having just have doctors ordering this and using on their patients. It really takes a specialized person, someone that's really knowledgeable in the treatment of addiction. So it's very specialty, industry here. So I think someone that's already in the addiction treatment space and is not too big is kind of the ideal partner in my opinion.
Very interesting. So it sounds like you are looking for a company not only will bring the the financial advantages to the company, but as well as the knowledge, the know-how, and the existing network in the specific therapeutic area.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brady. I want to go to my next question. You were telling a little bit about the next steps. Can you tell us a little bit more in details about the next milestones? Maybe like what would be your short-term, mid-term, and long-term milestones that you, as a CEO and founder of BioCorRx Pharmaceuticals, working with your team towards that?
Well, short-term, we need to transition, looking at the NIH NIDA grant that we were awarded. I'm very fortunate and thankful for that grant that started the project a few years ago. And right now we are in the middle of the transition from the next phase of the grant. We have to go through a process with NIH to unlock those funds for the next round. So we're confident there. We still have to go through some of the administrative things with them to get that done. As soon as that happens, then we can start scheduling clinical trials and things sooner than later. So that's kind of more the short-term milestone is getting a transition of the NIDA grant done so we can get moving on the next phase of this, which is clinical. And, of course, to go after that is, getting an NDA, getting in there as quickly as we can with the study designs we do have in place. We have a pretty pretty good idea of what studies will be required to get to the NDA stage. So we think that we can do that very efficiently after we get the NIDA thing processed. So I think our intermediate goal is to get that NDA, and then from there it's we'll see what happens. I mean, I can start moving on some of our other pipeline products, and maybe we have a partner by that time. Maybe we're doing it on our own. But again, I'm going to reserve that until we get through this, this short-term and intermediate goals I just talked about.
Very good. So you just mentioned about the grant, and I want to ask you this question about the general, like, currently funding situation of the company, and probably, like, as I assume, besides the grant as a strategy pursuing, you might also looking for another way of funding the company, right? So what would be like your next round if you wish to raise besides the grant?
Yeah, well, our parent company is a public company, so since inception, we've always raised money. That's the nature of the business. If we need additional funds on top of the NIDA grant, or if we don't get the NIDA grant for some reason, we do need the funds to be able to conduct the trials. And we do have a few things in the works on that. We are very blessed and fortunate that we do have investors that have been with us for quite some time that are there when we need them. So from that perspective, it's not something that we're overly concerned about, because we've been fortunate, and we have a lot of great people that are not just investors, are very strategic investors. So we do have that as an option that we don't always like to go to, but it's there. And we're fortunate with that. And we are exploring potential partnerships, as I mentioned earlier, with those entities that may want to take, if we need someone to step in, not just with financials, but actually with their resources and personnel to work on the studies, et cetera. Some of them have their own sites. We can look at those avenues as well. We have potential foreign partners that are interested in doing trials maybe in some partnership for licensing in their country. So we have a bunch of different ways to get this to the finish line. Ideally, we do it on our own, obviously, and keep most of the value here at BioCorRx. But we'll have to see how those things all align, as we progress here through this year. But we do have a lot of options on the table that we're contemplating.
I understand. So as you mentioned, like, ideally you would keep the assets for the company. Maybe you can a little bit give us understanding what would be the company vision. Is it like more you would wish develop as a standalone company in a long term, become one of the pioneers in this specific field, and large companies, or it's more like going into the partnership? Just tell us a little bit about the vision of the company.
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak for myself, and I have a board, and they have different ideas, but I'd like to. There's such a need for innovation in this space of addiction treatment. And there's so many things that are on the horizon that work. And it really is a lot of disruption that needs to take place in this industry. And we see a lot of those things that potentially could do that. So a part of me and our company wants to focus just in getting BICX104 to the finish line, and helping people and monetizing it as a company. There's so many other things that are out there that I know I want to do in the space, that I'd like to be able to also put some attention on that. And that's where partnerships and things come into play more. Like we, partner with a company that can take BICX104 and maybe handle the commercialization of that. And we have some sort of royalty milestone deal there that allows us to go focus on some of the other things that I want to tackle, that we want to tackle. So that's my vision is, I want to be able to do a few other things in this space before, we personally exit or the company exits, there's a lot of things that need to be done that I see, and no one, if someone's got to do it, and and I feel like maybe it's going to be us that does that. I mean, again, it's a space that just is changing and needs to change. Not a lot of people want to deal with it because it's a difficult patient population to treat. So that that's a pro, and there's pros and cons to that. There's a lot of opportunity because of that. Um, but so to me, it's, again, like I said earlier, I'm a blank slate when it comes to where we take it from, over the next few months. Once we get into clinical studies, I think that will, once we get there and we start engaging with some of these other partners, that'll kind of dictate maybe what we decide to do as a company down the road. I mean, we are a small company trying to do a lot of great things, and we can't do it all, but
Right.
we'll try. We'll try our best.
True. That's why the partnership is coming. That's why also, BioNeex in the business. So we help lots of biotech companies, small size, where they truly do, groundbreaking innovation, but they cannot really, go all this journey alone. So they need to partner with other companies. Sometimes, like, you can put one of the assets for yourself pursuing, but then others you can also license or give in another way to other companies. That's very interesting vision, what you just said, Brady. Is there anything else that you would like to tell our listeners that I didn't get a chance to ask you?
I think we covered, most of the things. We're a small company where we move fast on decisions and those types of things. So that's, if people want to discuss partnerships with us, I'm certainly open to that. And hopefully it's with companies that also move fast and make decisions. And that's why I said earlier, I'd rather smaller companies that can, where we're talking directly, decision maker to decision maker. So that's what I would, ask for, as someone who can move, who can move quickly.
True. Thank you, Brady. I can tell you also from my experience, as we know each other, Brady, quite long, and with my work, I talk probably every day with a couple of biotech CEOs. You are one of the most experienced and visionary CEOs that I know. You know the field very well, so you lead the company, and I think, as I already know, company more than 1.5 to 2 years. You went through the milestones that you promised that you're going to reach. So well done. Thank you, Brady, once again for being our guest today at BioNeex interview.
Thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate it. And happy to do these as much as you'd like.
Thank you.